so the first thing you will need is your flour and a container or a bowl that you're gonna mix your dough in. So this is an empty bowl and then my flour. And I am going to pour a considerable amount of flour into the bowl. I have been doing this for a while, so I don't really have to measure. And you don't have to measure as well, because I will show you how the whole thing works later on. But now, as you can see, I am putting in one Maggi cube, and when you're doing this, just make sure that it is well crushed, because you don't want to have it in the pie while you're chewing. You don't want whoever is eating the pie to bite into this, because it's not it's not a good feeling when you do. So make sure it is well crushed. I just use one, and then you do it this way when it's dry, as in into the flour, and then mix it up. I don't know what I'm saying, but let's just keep going. So you can see me doing that in the video. Mix it up, just use your fingertips to mix it up. Make sure it is thoroughly mixed. And when I said dry, this is what I meant. It's not wet. Okay, so at this point, you're gonna add the butter. So remember when I said I did not measure my flour and there was no need for me to? I am not gonna measure the amount of butter I put in as well. And this is the reason. When I start to mix the flour into with the butter, the texture will tell me if I have enough butter in the flour or not. So you get what I'm trying to say? I hope you do. So at this point, I'm mixing it, and when you're mixing it, let me say this: make sure you do it with your tips, okay? The tips of your hand. Your tips. What is that? Okay, so mix it with the tip of your fingers. So just the way I am doing it in the video, keep going like that. Mix it with the tip of your fingers, and then because you don't want it to it helps with the texture of the pie when you mix it this way. So you see how it looks at this point? Yeah, this is the consistency that I was looking for. So this is what I mean by the amount of flour and the butter. If I get this, I know I'm good. So I'm not gonna measure anything. I mean, if I make a lot more meat pie, I love meat pie, and my household love meat pie. So there's not gonna be anything left that I would say, oh, it's too much or too little. It is just okay. So you just mix it, and I'm still doing it with the tips of my fingers. Just try to crush every balls in it, and make sure it looks this way. It is at this consistency level. Now we're gonna add some milk. This is whole milk, skim milk that I'm adding in there. And again, you're still gonna mix with the tips of your fingers. Make sure you don't press it together. The reason why I'm doing this is that it helps with the texture of the overall pie when it is cooked. It helps make it soft and a little bit crunchy and very, very nice. Even if you don't eat it all the same day, it's still very soft on subsequent days. And so when you mix it this way, it helps. The first method that I used in my previous video, I did not do it this way. I just pressed crack. It was a little tough in terms of the texture. So this actually helps to make it soft. And at this point, this is how I want it. So you're gonna leave it this way. So we are done with the dough at this point. And I hope my point is clear. Now what you need is to put a little bit of butter into a saucepan and set it on fire to heat it up, because we are going to work on the fill-in of our pie. You know, you can't have meat pie without feeling. So yes, and this is the the butter, just a little. I actually use like 1 teaspoonful of butter, so it is not that much, and it's not a chunky full, it's just a little. So as little as possible. You don't need any oil. You already put a lot of butter into the pie itself, so you don't need too much. This is just to help you make your filling. And as you've seen, I put in a lot of onion. This is 1 whole onion that I use, 1 large onion, and then I use half red bell pepper, half yellow red pepper, and then half green bell pepper. So all three are one large bell peppers, but I only use half of each. So if you're wondering what quantity, I just use half of each. And you can use as much as you want or as little as you want, depending on how much filling you want. If you don't want that much in your pie, just use a little, you know. And I'm just gonna crush just a little bit of the Maggi cube. I use like less than a quarter of it, just a little, just to give it some taste. Or you could just put salt in it, but I'm not gonna use salt because right there is our corned beef. I mean, you can't have meat pie without meat, right? So that is our meat. And the corned beef usually is salty. There is a considerable amount of sodium in the corned beef, so I usually will not put salt in it. I just put a little, just as you saw, like I said, less than a quarter of Maggi cube seasoning in there. And then we're going to stir everything together, and it's not going to stay on the fire for too long because it's going to go into the oven anyway, but we just want to make sure it's thoroughly mixed together with everything else. So you keep it on fire and then you mix it up thoroughly, and then it's done. So just make sure it is crushed into very, very, very tiny soft pieces. Yeah. Hey, like I said, I'm not too good at this voiceover thing, so just pardon me, okay? Pardon me as we go. I'm gonna get better with time. So this is the finished product. Oh no, we're not done. Carrots. Yeah. Look, see, even while cooking, I almost forgot about the carrots, so it came in last because carrots are quite hard. It's supposed to be like the first thing to go in, but who cares? Look, like I said, the whole thing is going to go into the oven anyway, so don't worry about what goes in first and what goes in last, okay? So now we're gonna work on our dough. Have a clean surface. If you have a board that you want to use, just clean it and then get ready to work on the dough. All right, we're going to first of all sprinkle a little bit of the flour, you know, to prevent it from sticking to the surface, you know, because I'm using a granite surface and we don't want it to stick to it, right? And then you put considerable amount again, and you press it with a wooden roller. So we're just gonna, you're not gonna press it too much. Just make sure it is flat and beautiful and ready to go. So because we don't want to lose the consistency in terms of the taste, you're gonna press it too much. Just enough to have it looking flat. Don't worry about how it doesn't have to look you know, smooth or anything. No, we just need it to be flat so we can put our filling in and then get it ready to go into the oven. We don't want to mess up the texture of the pie at the end of the day. So that is what I'm trying to do at this point. And I'm just using a knife to shape it into like a triangular form. So yeah, just trying to shape it at this point. We're just trying to get a really nice shape so we can roll it into a beautiful something you see in the video. Don't mind me, guys. I'm just, yeah. See, it still managed to get stuck on the granite, so I just, you know, applied a little bit of the flour. I'm sorry. So at this point, you're gonna put a considerable amount of the filling, like so. Just watch the way I'm doing it in the video, and then once you have it all spread out on one side of the flour, you're gonna roll it. Just roll this nicely and smooth. And then because we want it to hold together, we're going to use a fork to press on that side so that it will stick together. And once that is done, I'm going to take a knife and then I'm going to cut this into the desired shape that I want. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. You can be creative with it, but this is how I want it to look. So I'm just going to cut it into these shapes. And then once that is done, you're going to go ahead and place each piece on our baking pan and then set that aside. And now I am going to show you another way, you know, because there are different types of ways that you can roll your meat pie or make it into. Again, you need to make sure your dough is flat. And then this time I'm going to use a plastic bowl to make my shape with a round, just like so. Yeah, so we're just gonna make it into circular shapes. This time make sure the circle goes all the way through, like so. And then once that is done, you're gonna again put in your filling and you put it on one side, or you can put it right in the middle, because you're just gonna fold it the one side over the other like so, and then press it down into the dough on the other side to hold it all together, to make sure that your filling is right in the middle. So basically that's what we're doing. So this is just another way you can do it. So if you like these shapes better, fine. I always do both because I kind of find that it is nice to have a variety. So just showing you both ways, and you can go with whichever you want, or you can be creative again with it. And now I am separating the yolk from the egg, and then we're gonna add some milk to it and then stir it all together. And what I'm gonna do with this is that I am going to smear it on top of the pie, just a little each on top of the pie, and I will show you how it's done. So you're just gonna put it right like so. Yeah, just if you have, you know, something that can work better than a fork, please go ahead. All I have is a fork. And the reason why I'm doing this is that when my pie is in the oven and it's cooking, this helps me to tell if it is cooking or not, depending on how brown sometimes it turns at the top, that little, you know, plus also it makes it look really nice. And now set your pie into the oven, and this oven is preheated at 350 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And then once I put my pie in the oven, I reduced it to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. You can convert that into Celsius. I'm not sure what that is. And as you can see, this is the finished product. It is done. It tasted really good. I love the vegetables and everything in it. It gives it such a nice taste. I hope this video helps you. And if you like, please hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.